sure by now all of you are aware that Woodmore are the online expert when it comes to spare parts. And the best point is that they have the spare parts for all vehicles available in India. So even if your car is out of production now, maybe you have a last generation model, even then they have the spare part available. They have the entire catalog. And the best point is that they have the same spare part from a host of different component makers, which gives you great flexibility in the pricing overall. Well, so let's quickly talk about the Maruti Suzuki Ignis. The first thing you'll immediately notice when you enter the cabin is a lot of familiar bits and pieces. The power window buttons are the same on a lot of Maruti cars. You also get same type of AC vents in a lot of Maruti cars. And of course, the other big highlight is this, the infotainment unit, the Smart Play Studio. It's also same on a lot of other cars in the range. So Maruti Suzuki saves a lot of money over there, a lot of cost is saved, and that of course translates into you getting a decent deal. Now in terms of the overall look and feel, you get hand lock display and a little bit of digital in them, and of course the seat comfort also is decent. The steering wheel is also nice to hold. This of course has been added at the dealership level, and this seat covers are also extra from the Nexa dealership. They don't come with these kind of seats. This car gets plain seats and the upholstery is all in cloth, so that's something there. Now this is one level below the top of the line. This is the mid-level version, so you don't get automatic climate control. You do get these rotary type knobs. The top of the line version gets automatic climate control, but apart from that it's pretty well equipped. You also don't get automatic headlamps on this particular version. The funky design of the cabin is quite good. Youthful people will like it, or maybe if you're a little bit conservative like me, you might say just too much and in your face. Now let's jump in the back seat and see how good that is. Well, so now I'm in the back seat of the Ignis. In terms of pure space, there's a decent amount of space. The knee room is quite generous, and headroom also is quite generous, even for me who's 5'10". Even if about 6'1" or 6'2", headroom is more than sufficient, because I have place between the roof and my head of almost my hand fits over there, so more than my hand actually. So you do have place even for 6-footers. It's not very height though, so you can easily have two. Third occupant will be a bit of a push. No AC vents, that's a bit of a towner, and no charging points as well. The windows also are slightly on the smaller side, so that's something which you will not appreciate. The doors though, they open up nice and wide, so easy entry and exit points for whoever is sitting in. So let's quickly show you the boot of the Ignis. Now the back end of the car is a design which people don't like because it's very square and boxy. And that square and boxy design though translates into good amount of space on the interior, and especially the boot. Now it's a very compact car, but the boot of this car is generally quite decent in terms of the overall space, and it's a well-shaped boot as well. The only bit of a letdown is that there's a huge sill, so you have to put in your bags and heave them in rather than just slide them in and out. That's the only bit of negative, but apart from that, for its shape and size, it's quite a well-sized boot. Well, so here I'm driving the Maruti Suzuki Ignis. Now this car's biggest strength and its biggest highlight is the 1.2 petrol that you get. It's a K-series petrol, and I think that Maruti Suzuki make the best engines in the petrol department. Either 1.2, even the 1, and even the 1.5. All of them are phenomenal in terms of the refinement level. So that's something which you'll really appreciate inside the cabin of this car, because it's quite well isolated as well from the external world, and you know, it doesn't feel noisy, it's not obtrusive, it's a very silent engine. In fact, when you're standing at the red light and you know you shut it off, when you start it on, it's difficult to tell when it's on or off. It's so efficient and so smooth in terms of the noise and isolation level. So that's something which you'll also appreciate. It's also a peppy performer. It just goes very fast, very good performance in terms of that, and it's also you know, very refined and loves to be revved hard. When you rev it up all the way up to its red line, it just goes all the way up. As the same engine which you also get in the Baleno, the Swift. So it's a very good engine in that right. How is the handling of the car? Well, Maruti Suzuki has given it very thin tires. I think they should have given slightly better tires. Handling is okay, the steering response is okay, but yes, if it had given slightly better tires, 10K tires, overall this car would have been even better to drive. Ride comfort for most of the part is good, but sometimes on those rumble strips and those badly made patchy joints, it can get you know, some of those jolts inside the cabin. Highway stability is okay till about 90 and 100 kph, but of course after 100 kph we all know that the car, you know, the highways, people the police do challan you, because that's the speed limit for most highways. So if you drive at the limit, it's quite okay. After, of course, you cross the limit, it does tend to become a little loose and doesn't feel as confidence inspiring as some of its rivals. Overall, the manual gearbox is quite good to operate. It's nice and easygoing, and the AMT, even though it does suffer from a little bit of lurchiness, is quite decent for most of the part. Overall though, the Maruti Suzuki Ignis is a good package in terms of driving bits. You can always get slightly fatter tires and improve the ride as well as dynamics, but in general it's a car which will not disappoint you, and you'll just enjoy revving the 1.2 all the way up to its red line of 6,000 RPM. Now let me stop the car and give you a nice summary report. Well, so when I stop this car and I think about the overall summary report, then I have to say that if you're in the market for your first ever car and you're on a bit of a tight budget, you want to buy a car which offers you good space, is decent to drive, has a peppy engine, and makes you feel happy, then I think this is a good choice for you. And the reason for that, of course, is that it's value for money, especially in the base version. And I would advise you to buy this car ahead of maybe the Alto or even the Wagoner, because it just feels better to drive, and it just has that extra bit of X factor about itself. Its personality has that off-roading bit. It feels like a soft roader, and just in general has a great personality. So if you're in the market for your first car, you're on a tight budget, then definitely buy this car. The top of the line versions do tend to become a little expensive. The AMTs, they do go up to about 8.5-9 lakh rupees, but the base versions, the base and of course the one after that, is very well priced, especially in the manual. So check that out at a Nexa dealership near you. So bye for now, and thanks so much for watching.